This is what the solar setup looks like at the back of one of our homes. And today, we're going to go through each of the components.
Solar can be a great option for powering your tiny home, especially when it's impossible or maybe very costly to run utility power to your site. In this technical deep dive video, we're going to discuss solar, off-grid solar and on-grid solar. We will start with how it works. Then we'll cover some key things to consider, and we'll finish with some more details on how Clever specifically does our solar systems. Solar involves a number of components. The solar panels, of course, the inverter, the battery, the generator, and the generator auto start module. Let's walk through each of these. The solar panels are what everyone knows. They convert light energy from the sun into electricity. Standard household solar panels, which is what we installed, are generally rated between 400 and 500 watts each. And we completely cover the roofs of our homes with solar panels. Now that number is the theoretical maximum power. It's not the actual amount they'll generate, and we'll talk about how to improve the efficiency. Next, we have the inverter. The inverter in modern systems has two functions. The first is to convert the DC electricity of the solar panels and the battery into the AC electricity houses use. The second is to act as a control center, coordinating between the solar panels, the battery, and the generator. The inverters we install also connect to the internet and come with an app so that you can see and optimize your energy usage. There are a number of inverter systems out there, but they broadly fall into two categories: household inverters and portable RV or all-in-one inverters. Household inverters are designed to be installed permanently in a house. Not just a tiny house or ADU, but any house. They support split phase or 240 volt power, which means they can power large appliances like a washer and dryer. And they support larger batteries. They're also larger and more complex to install. RV or all-in-one inverters generally combine the battery and the inverter into one box that you plug in. At Clever, we use the no-compromise household systems. Next, batteries. This is the most expensive single component in the system. The idea of the battery is that it charges during the day when there is more solar power from the panels than you can use, and it discharges at night when there's no sun. We install a battery system that is expandable. This means that if you need more battery storage, you can add more batteries. All of these components, the panels, the inverter, the battery, are the same, regardless of whether you are on-grid or off-grid. If you are on-grid, the grid basically acts as a backup to your solar system. If you're off-grid, you need a different backup, and that's where a generator comes in. Now, the way we designed the generator system has two key things to understand. The first is the battery powers the house, and the generator is there to recharge the battery. Compared to the past where people would run their house off a generator, this is much more efficient. The generator can turn on, run at maximum fuel efficiency to recharge the battery, and then shut off. So even if you have no solar for an entire day, you may only need to run the generator for an hour. The second is the auto start module. We install a special third-party module so that the generator will automatically start when the battery gets to 20% and automatically shut off when it reaches to 80%. This is much more convenient compared to having to manually start and stop the generator. The generators we provide are a portable dual fuel generator. This means you can power them with both propane or gasoline. However, most people use propane because it's relatively inexpensive to get a decent size propane tank. The reason we use a portable generator is that generators do make sound when they're running. Most of our customers will put the generator a little distance from the tiny home, perhaps behind a barrier that muffles some of the sound. So that's an overview of how the solar system works. Now, let's talk about some key things to consider. The first is, of course, the amount of sun the roof your house is going to get. To maximize this, you ideally want the solar panels facing south. You also need to make sure there is not shade. Shade will basically kill a solar panel's ability to generate electricity. Related to this is understanding your generator usage. If you're in a sunny location and are relatively efficient with your power usage, you may rarely need that generator and only need a little barbecue propane tank to run it for a long time. However, if you're in a place prone to lots of cloud cover, then expect to need more propane. But again, because the generator is only on to charge the battery, even in the worst case scenario, you aren't running the generator continuously. Another option in lower sunlight areas is to increase the number of solar panels with ground mounted panels. These are not that expensive, and the inverter we install supports adding extra panels on the ground or maybe on another building. But all of this gets to the next point, which is a key one. You're going to have the best experience with off-grid solar by looking at the data from your system as you use it and making adjustments. We make the system plug and play, but we can't control your environment and the location. The app that comes with the system is going to give you a lot of data on how your solar system is performing in your specific situation. And you can use that data to make decisions such as, when do you run your laundry? Does it make sense to add more solar panels on the ground? Or even, is it worthwhile to have a second battery? In other words, our customers who have the best experience with off-grid solar expect to spend a little bit of time when they first get the home engaging with the system and figuring out how to optimize the power the sun gives us. Of course, if you're using on-grid solar, this is less important. Whatever inefficiencies you have in your environment are going to be covered by the grid power.
Okay, this is what the system looks like on the back of one of our tiny homes. I'm standing in our factory behind a Clever One. We have the inverter up here on top. There's kind of a cable chase here to organize the cables in the middle. And then the battery is right here. You can see if you want to add another battery, there's space to put it here, and you can even put more next to that. If we look at some of the cables, first of all, we have the cable coming out of the inverter. This goes into the home. So actually, if you want to completely bypass the solar system, you can just plug in what's called shore power. We also have cable here going to this box, which has the breakers for the solar panels, which are on the roof, which you can't see from this vantage point. And then we have the cables going to the backup generator right here, the portable generator. There is actually, as you can see, 3 cables. There is the power cable, which when the generator is running would run the power back into the inverter, which goes to charge the battery. There is a cable to charge the battery in the generator. The generator has a battery, and so we're going to keep that battery charged through the solar system. And then there's a control cable to tell the generator when to start and stop. So that's the different components of the solar system, except for the solar panel, of course, that you can see mounted on the back of a Clever One.
So what system do we install at Clever? Our base system is designed to work well, as is in most situations. We install systems from a company called EG4. They're a major solar equipment supplier in the US. We install their all-weather 12 kVv inverter system, which is enough to run the house, and the all-weather 14.3 kilowatt hour battery. This battery is generally enough to get from sundown to sunup. Of course, more batteries can be added if needed. This system can also be changed from off-grid to on-grid and vice versa. For our off-grid customers, we also include a Westinghouse inverter generator and this auto start module. Off-grid solar is an amazing technology. And while these systems are not cheap, it is often substantially lower cost to use off-grid solar than to install utility power to a site. Either way, it's incredible that today we can live completely off the sun very comfortably. So that's an overview of solar. If you have any questions, please reach out to us or leave a comment below. Thanks.